to it.
Nigga, we infamous. Ashes to ashes, the death to us. And y'all weak to us. If you stand amongst us, prepare for the worst.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. I am so excited to begin this year's process of grading every team individually on their draft. This season, though, we are going to do it based off division. And let's just say I am excited because last time, it wasn't even on this channel I did, but last time I was kind of just going based off, gut feeling. And this time there's actually some math behind it. So I'm excited to show y'all. We're gonna start with the NFC South, and first off, we got the Buccaneers here. And look, as you can see, it will be a letter grade. Those letter grades will translate into actual numbers, which we will then calculate the average based on. And if you have a red by the number, I think it was the team's worst pick. If you have a green, I think it was the best. And if you have a yellow, it will be that team's steal of the draft, in my opinion. We'll get to that in their later picks. Look, Kalijah Kancey, I am lower on him than most people. I think he's a tweener. He's not a D tackle. He's not a D end. I'm not sure where he's going to play. I'm just not as high on him as other people are. If you are a big Kalijah Kancey fan, then hey, maybe this is a B or even a B plus in your opinion, but it's not in mine. And I also think this is a bit of a reach. I don't think Kalijah Kancey was a first round prospect. He was not in my top 32. So maybe do I think he would have been available at 29? I think so. But, I'm not a GM. All I can go off is based off my opinion. I don't think Kalijah Kancey is going to be, a game changer for the Buccaneers in the future. And I think at 19, that's, probably what you should shoot for. 48, however, is a completely different story. I think Cody Mock, whether or not he plays offensive tackle, he played offensive tackle at a D2 school. He was amazing at offensive tackle, but I think he's a guard in the NFL. And I think he'll be a damn good guard. Just look at those teeth, man. That guy, you don't want to fuck with that. He is going to move people, big people in the NFL. I think that was their best pick. At 48, I think it was great value. And if Cody Mock's the starter for the next 10 years for the Buccaneers, I wouldn't be shocked whatsoever. These next two are kind of tied in together because Yaya Diaby out of Louisville and Servasha Davis out of Pitt, another Pitt player, by the way. I think both these guys are attempts to replace what's left of that Buccaneers championship squad. Levante David heading out, Devin White wanting out. I think Yaya Diaby and Servasha Dennis, they both are supposed to be the new era. The fans weren't in love with, and let me clarify, uh, with a lot of these later round guys, I'll be honest, I'm not experts in Yaya Diaby or Sebastian Dennis, okay? So what I use to supplement that is the opinions of the fans, right? I go to the Buccaneers fan pages, I go to the Buccaneers Instagram page, and I look through a lot of comments. I get a lot of opinions from the fans and see what they think, because they know their team, their needs, who they wanted better than I do, right? So they were not stoked about either of these picks, but I do like the fact that they addressed an eventual need for the Buccaneers, right? So, were they best players available? No. Do the Bucks hope they'll be eventual starters in a new era on that defense? Yes. So they both get B minuses from me. In their later round picks, I think Payne Durham was very good value at 171. The Buccaneers, tight end was a big need. Cameron Brate cannot play there forever. I don't think Durham's going to win that spot day one, but I think he'll be a contributor on that offense. And I think, I thought tight end could have possibly been a round one need for them. And to get a solid player at 171, that's a very, I enjoy that. So did the fans, A minus, I think that was very good value. Josh Hayes, the fans wanted secondary badly. That's kind of why they weren't so on board with the Diaby and Dennis picks. So Josh Hayes was an attempt to address the secondary. I'm not sure how much he's going to do at 181. Maybe be a special teams guy right away, but just because it addressed the need, I gave it a B, but I'm not sure how big of a role Josh Hayes is going to play. Trey Palmer, on the other hand, I really like that one. That is going to be my steal of the draft for the Buccaneers. Like it's the yellow letter with it. I think 191 is very good value. He has blazing speed. I think eventually, he's going to be the Scotty Miller replacement. Mike Evans also does not have much more time left on the Buccaneers, I think. So Trey Palmer, I'm not sure if you can fill those shoes, but very good value at 191. I think you're going to get a long time contributor in Trey Palmer. Jose Ramirez, again, another outside linebacker. With these later round picks, you're kind of just taking shots in the dark. You're not going to see me be very opinionated on many of these later round guys. I give that one a C plus. Now you can see the math I used behind this. You can see the grading scale I used for all of these grades. You can also see the outlook on what the Bucks drafted. You got three linebackers, like I said, pair of pass catchers, a big offensive lineman, defensive lineman, and only one in that secondary. I would have liked to see some more uh, attention to the secondary. And overall, it added up to be a 5.5 average, which was a B. And you'll see how that shapes up in comparison to the rest of the NFC South. Let's get to the team with the number one overall pick. Sorry, never mind. Team with the number 8 overall pick, that's the Falcons. And look, let me start off by saying this. If this was done day one, Bijan probably gets a D minus from me. And that's only because I view Bijan as a top 5 player in this class, right? I also want to point out I absolutely see, what the Falcons' vision is, right? And that also extends to number 38, Matthew Bergeron. They want to be the best running team in football. My problem was that my problem with that is that they were already a top 3 running team in football. Maybe even better than that. They might have been the best last year. And look, if I had to pick one position group on the Falcons that was already good, it was running back. They drafted a running back at 8. So not only is it a reach in most people's eyes, you don't take running back top 10. You don't take running back in the first round, according to some people. So in some people's eyes, it's a reach. In almost everybody's eyes, it's a player you didn't need whatsoever. So I gotta give this a D somehow. I gotta give it a D plus just because of how good Bijan is. And same thing to Matthew Bergeron. He's not a bad player. 38 isn't horrible value, but he just look as long as I've been alive, really, and in Atlanta, the Falcons have had no defense. Okay, this does not change that. And if you would have took Jalen Carter at 8 and another, front 7 guy at 38, I think Falcons fans would have been a lot happier with this draft. But it's just that wasn't the case, right? And they could be the number one rushing offense in football next season. But that's not going to change anything in Atlanta. Okay, they're still going to be a 6 or a 7-win team because they can't stop anybody. So that's my thoughts on these top 2 picks. Matthew Bergeron and Bijan Robinson. 75, Zach Harrison. There's the pass rusher. There's the defensive lineman they were hoping for. I think 75 was good value. Fans were obviously stoked about this one. Finally they addressed that D line, so I gave that one a B plus. Clark Phillips. This is where they hit it out the park with their draft. I gave this both the best pick and the steal of the draft. I was not expecting Clark Phillips to be available, in the 4th round, all things. So that was shocking. I like that the Falcons hopped right on it when he was available. Undersized, he'll play nickel. And Jesse Bates as a safety, AJ Terrell on the boundary. You're not sure who's going to play the other boundary, but Clark Phillips and nickel, you're starting to see some positive changes in that Falcons secondary. And I like that. And with these 7th round picks, I'll be honest, I'm not gonna just give DeMarco Hellams or Javon Gwynn a grade because I'm not sure they're gonna even make the roster. Okay, so there's no point in me even grading these guys. So we got 6 players drafted, 2 offensive linemen, 2 secondary members, a running back, and a defensive lineman. 4 graded players for an overall grade of a B minus. And honestly, this might even be a little lower than that, just because it shakes out to be a 5 and a B minus does not necessarily mean it was a B minus because I'm not in love with those first 2 picks, man. It got better with each pick, but still not a good draft in my opinion from the Falcons whatsoever. Next up, we got the Panthers. First overall, we got Bryce Young. We got our first A plus of these grades. And let me kind of explain to y'all what warrants an A plus. If I think you made the best possible selection and it filled a hole and it filled a need, you get an A plus. Simple as that. If they would have drafted CJ Stroud number 1, I probably would have given that an A plus too. So shout out to the Panthers on that. This is where we get a little interesting. I don't love Mingo at 39 for two reasons. One, I think, better receivers were available, Jalen Hyatt, Josh Downs, Cedric Tillman, you know, and look, I understand the whole Josh Downs. He played in North Carolina, local guy. They wanted him. He's a slot guy. They already got guys in the slot, as I am aware, so I understand that one. But Jalen Hyatt, I would have taken Hyatt at 39 and not thought twice about it because Jonathan Mingo and Hyatt, they're both deep threats, right? They are both limited route runners. I think well, I know Hyatt's faster, way faster in game, and I just know he gets open downfield more. Mingo, I can't really say the same. And at 39, also, the second reason, it's just a big reach. I was not seeing Ring or Mingo mocked anywhere near this high. Do I think it got Mingo at 59? I'm pretty sure about that. So for those two reasons, the thing that's saving this pick is that I just love that they addressed wide receiver. And anybody they drafted, I just think Bryce Young is that good. They're gonna make, whoever they drafted look good. Mingo will probably be pretty solid for the Panthers, but I just don't love it. I would have done several things differently if I was to take receiver at 39. DJ Johnson at 80. This was their worst pick in my opinion. Look, I think it was a bit of a reach. I think he would have been available a lot, later than 80. And the fans, they did not want a pass rusher here. And if they did, they definitely didn't want DJ Johnson. I saw a lot of Darnell Washington. I saw a lot of Trenton Simpson. Not a whole lot of Panthers fans were happy with DJ Johnson at 80. Let me put it that way. So that's what warrants that C plus there. Chanyer Savala, on the other hand, this was a great pick. Not only are you teaming him back up with former teammate Ike Ekwonu, but you're really solidifying that line for when Bryce gets in there day one. And I love that. Also, going to be opening a lot of holes for new Panther Miles Sanders. So that is my steal of the draft. I think at 114 is very good value. So very, very good pick there by the Panthers at 114. 145, we got Jamie Robinson. Again, another guy who I did not think was going to be available this far. One of the better safeties in this class. And I'm not sure where he's going to play, whether it's nickel, outside, or safety. I think he's pretty versatile. Good athlete. And Panthers fans were very happy with this one at 145, and I agree. So that actually is going to lead to a pretty good grade of a B plus. I don't know if y'all can see that. That is a B plus for the Panthers, a 6.1. Pretty solid. Panthers fans should be happy. And hey, depending on how you view Mingo, this could potentially be bordering on, that A minus range, depending on how you view Mingo. So I think Panthers fans should be happy overall with this draft. Next up, we have got it here. We got the Saints. They had more picks than I thought they would. We got these top picks here, and every one of these guys, if you kept up with the draft casually, you should know all three of these guys. Brian Brzee at 29, man. I remember when he was getting mocked top 10, 7 to the Raiders, 8 to the Falcons, and he just slipped and slipped and slipped. And man, to the Saints at 29, it's such good value. I mean, anybody could have drafted Brzee at 29. I would have given it an A or A minus, but for the Saints to lose both of their defensive tackles in free agency and then to get Brian Brzee, for it to be this good value and fill a need, it has to get an A. Bordering an A plus, but just not quite there, but an amazing pick for the Saints. This was their best pick at A. And Isaiah Foskey, again, they were not what they needed to be last season as far as stopping the run. That was not the Saints defense we have come to know. So Isaiah Foskey and Brian Brzee will change that. Two very, very good picks to kind of, just change that whole defensive line around. I gave that an A minus. I had no problem with Foskey going at 40. I think he maybe could have even gone a little higher. Who knows? Kendre Miller at 71. I was wondering which running back the Saints were going to take, and Kendre Miller was their guy. Hey, he could have had 20 touchdowns last season if he didn't miss the college football playoffs. So you're not going to hear any complaints about out of me if they had their choice of running back, and they took Kendre Miller. So if they believe in him, I believe in him. I give this a B plus. No, no second thoughts about that one. Nick Saldiveri, um, this is just this is depth. They wanted they wanted other directions. They wanted secondary. They wanted Ringo, but a lot of these boring picks, interior offensive line, interior defensive line, linebacker, you're going to see some fans complaining that they wanted the more exciting skill position players, right? So you can't be mad that a team wants to go after depth pieces, in these middle rounds. Jake Haener, this is their worst pick in my opinion, and here's why. I am not a fan of the whole spend a fourth or a fifth round pick on a backup quarterback. I just if you want a backup quarterback, go sign a veteran. That's how I feel. I think you swing for the fences with these types of picks. There were a lot of good players on the board. Saints chose to take a backup quarterback. If Jake Haener is their future starter in 3 or 4 years, then hey, I'll look like a fool. But I don't like the idea of spending these later picks on backup quarterbacks. Jordan Howden, I do think secondary was a need for the Saints, sorry. So I don't mind this. 146. I think he can play special teams right away. So I like that pick. And this is their steal of the draft. A.T. Perry, Wake Forest. I saw some, third, fourth round talk for A.T. Perry. So for him to fall this far, it's very good value. Saints were begging for a receiver the entire draft, you know. So to get a very solid piece at 195, they should be happy about that. And if we get into their grade, their outlook, they had a good amount of picks there. Two defensive linemen obviously was their strength of the class. A DB, one O line, couple weapons on the offense, and then a backup quarterback. So this shakes up to a 5.79, which is also a B plus, teetering. I could have rounded up. Well, I rounded up to a B plus. I'm not going to give it a B. I like the Saints draft overall. And if we get to the rankings here, you can see how it shaped up. Panthers, I think, were pretty clearly the best in the division. Saints also, coming out with a good draft. Buccaneers, it was iffy. If you like Elijah Cansey, then it's better than a B. I think it's a B plus. For me, it's a B. And the Falcons, I don't really see any justification. I think this is clearly the worst in the division. Probably one of the worst in the NFL, if we're being honest, but a lot of teams had really good drafts, so sorry, Falcons fans. Another year of a disappointing draft, but that's gonna be it for this video. I'm gonna pump out a lot, and we're gonna get every team. I did not finish these grades last season, but I brought a lot of order to it, and I really enjoyed making this one, so I have no doubt we're gonna get the other 7 out. So please leave a like if you subscribe. Please leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Leave a comment, start some discussion in the comments section, and I'll be out with the next video shortly. Thanks for watching.
It's out the motherfucking pack. Right out. But niggas don't know how to act.